Thailand's Lese Majeste laws are meant to prevent insults against the monarchy, but as more people are being charged under the criminal code, there is growing concern the law is being used to suppress political dissent. Campaigners are pushing to amend the legislation, while traditionalists say doing so would only harm Thai culture. I'm Fauzia Ibrahim. This week, 101 East asks just who are Thailand's Lese Majeste laws protecting? Bustling Bangkok is a true reflection of Thailand. This progressive, vibrant capital is a mix of commercialism and culture. Thais take time out from their busy, diverse lives to reconnect with their traditions. It's part of being Thai. And so is the national devotion to their constitutional monarch, King Bhumibol Adulyadej. The head of state is often depicted as a loving father figure to all Thais, and their loyalty to him is unquestionable. Or is it? Every day, Ampon Tangnoppakul visits this quiet pond in North Bangkok to feed the fish. This simple act gives her comfort after recent months of emotional pain.
This is an old place, an old canal with old fish. Coming here reminds me of the times when Akong and I used to bring our grandchildren here. I miss him so much. I miss him all the time. I really want to laugh again, but I can't without him.
Rosamalin lost her husband of over 40 years in May this year when he succumbed to cancer and died in a Bangkok prison. 61-year-old Ampon Tangnoppakul, affectionately known as Akong, had only served 6 months of a 20-year sentence. His crime for incarceration, insulting the monarchy.
I was shocked at the conviction and the punishment. But I controlled my emotions because I believed my husband was innocent. As long as my husband was innocent, I believed that there must be a way to free him.
In August of 2010, the grandfather of 5 was arrested for sending 4 text messages to a senior government official, all of them deemed to have been offensive to a member of the royal family. Throughout his trial, Akong maintained his innocence, even claiming he didn't know how to send messages from his phone. Unable to prove his innocence, Akong was jailed in November last year and was in the middle of appealing his sentence when he died in prison of liver cancer.
I'm still confused why this happened to Akong and our family. He was just an ordinary man who loved the king. He wasn't a politician. I don't know why Akong's life ended up this way.
The case reignited a heated debate over the nation's controversial and ambiguous Lese Majeste laws, ones that are deeply entwined with Thai culture and identity. Under Article 112 of the Criminal Code, it is stated, "Whoever defames, insults or threatens the king, queen, the heir apparent or the regent shall be punished with the imprisonment of 3 to 15 years on each count." The law operates under the National Security Section, and the charge of Lese Majeste is one of sedition.
On a deeper level, though, it comes to a question of treason. In other constitutional monarchies, or democratic constitutional monarchies, the question of treason concerns trying to obstruct or overthrow the democratic system. In Thailand, it's not showing full loyalty to the throne. That means that the political system that involves identity, Thainess, what it is to be a Thai, has always been defined as being loyal to the throne. So when there's questions or there's challenges to the role of the monarchy. It's considered first and foremost as an act of treason.
Chiranuk Premchaipon is one such person who has fallen foul of these laws. She runs a popular website called Prachatai, which offers alternative views to Thailand's mainstream national news. State prosecutors claim postings on the website by anonymous users violated the Lese Majeste laws. Chiranuk, as the webmaster, was charged under the Computer Crimes Act as having intentionally supported the offence by not removing the postings fast enough.
ไม่คิดว่าเป็นเรื่องส่วนตัวนะคะเพราะว่า
There are two reasons why I was charged. Firstly, is because Prachatai provides an open space for discussions that the authorities want to stop. Another reason is the enforcement of the law. It is under the National Security Code, and it's the duty of all Thais to protect the monarchy. So anyone can lodge a report, and it's up to the accused to prove innocence. You have to prove your loyalty to the king, and if the officials involved in the case drop it, then they could be accused of being disloyal.
Chiranuk faced a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Instead, she received a suspended sentence of 8 months. But the case has made many other Thai webmasters nervous, with several withdrawing their comments function to avoid being held responsible for something someone else may post online.
It is clear that Article 112 obstructs democratic development, as it has created a climate of fear. People cannot share their thoughts on the direction and development of the country. Now people live with rumors, unable to get true facts. This is not conducive for our democratic development at all.
Critics of Article 112 say the law doesn't just protect the king, queen, the crown prince and the region. They claim the ambiguity of the Lese Majeste laws allows it to cover the institution of the monarchy, including the politically influential military.
Who benefits from it? Who benefits from the law? Well, the military has, for whatever reason, I guess without any sort of external enemies of any serious nature, it's always focused on domestic politics, internal politics. And as such, they have always seen themselves as the protectors of the monarchy. You know, if we use the word palace in a broader sense, the military, certain leaders, retired or not, are connected to the palace.
Thailand's military has played a major role in shaping the nation since 1932, when a coup saw the government transform from an absolute to a constitutional monarchy. Fast forward to 2006, a different time, a different coup. On this occasion, the military deposed Thailand's democratically elected Prime Minister, Thaksin Shinawatra. Since then, critics have accused the army of using the Lese Majeste laws to retain political power and to silence dissenting voices. Many who have been charged under Article 112 have been members of the Red Shirt movement, who have held sporadic demonstrations against the 2006 coup.
The government putting different people's names into that mental charge and then blame them for accusing or insulting the king or the monarchy. Those are the people who are involved in the Red Church movement. So then it's used to legitimate the excessive use of force, like to chase out the people from the rallies, even to use the army force. You can see from the number of cases that rose up, especially in 2010. So it was exactly the same times that the rallies has been going on, the process of demonstrations by the Red Church, and it relates to politics.
Activists like Yukti are calling for Article 112 to be amended in order to avoid it being politically abused. They're pushing for the law to be made more transparent and regulated carefully.
We need to level down take it off from the national security category at first, but still we keep the status of the head of the countries, which include the king, the queen, the crown prince, and the regent, to cover those peoples, but into different categories, not the national securities.
But royalists oppose any amendment, fearing it would interfere with Thai culture and identity as it is embodied by the monarchy. Tawisak Sutakavatin is a member of the Siam Revolution Group who is pushing for the monarchy to play a more central role in the country's political development.
The Western democratic system that Thailand has adopted does not match with Thai society and culture. Because Thai people operate on a system of patronage, it is not in the nature of the Thai individual to use rationality in deciding political matters. The majority of Thai people rely on the old system of patronage. We should have a balanced structure, and the monarchy provides balance and peace because the king unites all of us and selflessly cares for the people.
Tawisak wouldn't be drawn on whether his group wants to see a return to absolute monarchy. He did, however, admit the Lese Majeste laws are open to political abuse.
Some people might misuse the principle of Article 112. The principle of the law to protect the king as the head of the state is correct. But if there are problems with the implementation of the law, then the processes have to be changed so that it is not used as a political tool. But the principle of protecting the king must remain for the sake of the nation.
The current government has no plans to amend Article 112, but observers warn that as long as the legislation remains as it is, more Thais may find themselves on the wrong side of the law. For more on Thailand's Lese Majeste laws, we're in the capital Bangkok, and joining us on the discussion panel are Sulak Sivarak, a social activist and critic of the Lese Majeste laws in Thailand. He has been charged numerous times under the law. Dr. Panitan Wathanayagon served as Foreign Affairs Advisor to former Prime Minister Abhisit Wejajiwa. Dr. Tun Sithisomwong leads the network of citizen volunteers protecting the land, a group campaigning to maintain Lese Majeste laws in the country. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Kun Panitan, if I could start with you, why do you think there is this growing call to amend Article 112, otherwise known as the Lese Majeste laws?
Well, there are three reasons, of course. The first reason is, of course, the unusual, the increase in terms of the persecution of these people in the last 3 to 5 years has called for an alarm. That's number one. Number two, of course, the political conflict. In the last, let's say, 5 to 6 years, several different divisive groups trying to use the law to their own advantage. That's another reason. And of course, in general, when you have the law this old, in most countries, they are called for certain changes or certain improvement in terms of the law. So these are the three reasons.
Kuntun, would you agree that this law does need to be amended, perhaps to become more relevant with the times?
I would like this Article 112 to stay the same. The objective of this article is to keep peace. If someone violates the beloved king, there may be some fight. So I would like to keep it the same, and everybody respect the law, and no one gonna be punished.
But Kun Sulak, you disagree with this. In fact, in the past, you've actually called for the law to be abolished.
That's correct.
Why is that?
Because this law only helps the power that be, particularly the powers that are dictatorial. It's not democratic at all. Secondly, the king himself said, anybody bringing the case of Lese Majeste is in fact harming the king personally and undermine the monarchy. And the government yet stubbornly refused to have this law amended. If you want to keep this law, number one, if anybody want to accuse anyone, that accusation must go to a committee, legal expert who known to be neutral. That's number one. And secondly, the law is too severe. Minimum charge 3 years. It means that the judge cannot even give you probation. You have to go to jail. 15 years imprisonment, maximum. I was charged one time, 3 cases. If I lose the case, I will spend 45 years in jail.
Kun Panitan, do you agree that this law is open to abuse as it stands now?
There are several cases that you saw the investigating officers may not do their job properly. This is why some people in Thailand are calling for the improvement of the mechanism. For example, instead of having a very severe sentence, perhaps maybe a lesser sentence, maybe about 3 to 5 years maximum sentences. That's one. Second, to allow not a person to bring you to charge, to bring you to court, but allow perhaps maybe the state attorney or maybe the His Majesty private principal secretary, for example. These are the proposals. The last government suggested and began to create a panel to look into it and allow the panel to make recommendation to the investigating officers. Jonathan Head of the BBC, for example, a case was dropped upon the recommendation of this panel.
I like to give information that 3 to 15 years imprisonment is stay like this for 30 years without any complaint. It's not about the human right, it's not about the democracy. It's only the past several years that the case is rising.
Why do you think the cases have risen in the last few years?
It was politicized after the coup to sack out Thaksin and the forming of the red shirt. If you look at the cases during the past several years, they all are red shirt. Most of them are red shirt. So the 3 to 15 years is maybe too long if look at compared to international standard. But the law, we increase the imprisonment if there's more and more cases. So it's strange. It's a high penalty, 3 to 15 years. But why someone keep going to break the law? It's not respecting the law.
You have to be very careful. People who have been accused, always accused of breaking the law. The last charge against me by the General Sutkinda Krapayun, I criticize him badly for making a coup. He's a dreadful man, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Army. And he accused me of defaming the king. I defamed him personally. And he twisted it around. Any constitutional monarchy must allow free criticism. The Queen of England, this year, 60th anniversary on the throne, a lot of criticism on the Queen, and she accepted. The present king said clearly, those who bring law of lese majeste is really against the king himself, undermine the monarchy.
Well, it seems like this particular law that's supposed to protect the king is actually making the king a political instrument.
He's very unhappy. If you want really to be loyal to him, if you don't abolish this law, amend the law to make it more human. If anything, I claim to be monarchist. I want to protect the monarchy, but you must protect wisely, with compassion, not severely, not with punishment.
The king and the court seem too aware of this. The Supreme Court rarely take these cases. In the last 100 years, only 3 or 4 cases reached the Supreme Court. But of course, in the last 5 years, seems like more and more cases reaching the Supreme Court. This is alarming. This is why we have to look into why there are a lot of cases pending and moving to the process. One of the reasons may be political conflict contributing to this increase. So you need to weigh it evenly between democracy, freedom of expression, and the stability, security, the custom practice of each country.
Do you think that for the ordinary Thai person, they would be able to know the distinction between a law that protects the king and a law that protects the country?
I think they understand that the king is very vital to our continuity, our security, our well-being of the country. I think they know it in principle, especially in
the
economic
law,
settings.
As you said, protect the king, the queen, the crown prince, or the regent. But now you are accused because you criticize a minor princess, and the police never make distinction. I think this law is antiquated.
Can I bring you
Useless.
into this discussion as well? You know, earlier on, Kun Sulak was saying that if the number of cases increase, this could actually harm the king. What is your comment to that?
Even at start, I say that we don't have to change the law, amendment the law, but I agree the process should be changed. There should be some committee to review, to prevent the abuse or the incorrectly
we agree on
accusation.
One point. Very good point he made.
Regarding the process, it was discovered in the last few years that once you are charged, most cases are left in the hand of the prosecuting officers. No one follow it up, making it very difficult for people who are charged to know what the current status of the case, and in many cases they are not allowed to do certain things during the process of defending themselves. I presume that now even prosecuting officers or people who are at different police stations are now fully aware of this, and they're becoming more aware of how careful they need to be doing in terms of bringing these charges to the court.
But they're also in a very difficult position as well. If they don't do anything, they'll be accused of being political. If they do something, they will be accused of insulting the monarchy.
More seriously, they could be charged with Article 157, not doing their job. This is what they are finding themselves into, the catch-22. This is why the government may need to look into how to establish a better mechanism, better committee, better process, better transparency, which already began.
The bureaucratic mechanism also is very bad. I was charged for lese majeste, and it's known I'm monarchist, so I call a lot of witnesses at the police station. It took almost 2 years, and the chief of the police became very friendly with me. And he said, you know, of all these witnesses, and the police chief at that station cannot make even recommendation. It had to be decided up there. And up there, top police, they have so many things to handle. But luckily, I'm a well-known person. I got bail. If you're nobody, you are there 3 or 4 years before it reaches the case up there.
You know, there are also concerns that if you amend this particular law, that you might actually affect Thai culture.
The law itself is a reflection of how the Thais are. The Thais are very polite people. But I think if you ask most of the Thai people, they agree that there should be some protections of individuals, the king included, not to be defamed by others. I think that's agreed. Defamation law is also practiced in many countries. But the question is how you take it into the new century.
Do you think, Kun Chun, that Article 112 has a place in democratic Thailand?
Sure, because you have to differentiate between democracy and freedom. If we are not alone, you can do anything. But if you live in the society, you have to, there's some limitation of freedom, limited by law.
Does that law then have a role in democracy?
Invade or violate the freedom of thought. But if you would like to speak out and defame anybody, not only the king, this action is prohibited.
I think
not to defame.
On the whole, we agree we need the law of defamation. And of course, we should also agree that the king is number one in this nation. But the king has also have to be a constitutional monarch under the constitution. The monarchy must also be transparent, accountable for the benefit of all his subjects. I think that, in my opinion, is His Majesty's wishes.
I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us this morning. And that's all the time we have for this edition of 101 East. You can always follow the program through our website, podcasts, Facebook and Twitter. From all the team in Bangkok, Thailand, thank you for watching.